Bright QT. Every student matters.
Hello everyone. Now students, let's talk about our next topic here, that is nomination of candidates. Now before this students, we were talking about the voters list. We are trying to understand how elections are held in our country. We are trying to understand the whole process in which elections take place in our country. Am I correct? Yes. Now in voters list, you understood how the electoral roll is prepared, and you also understood about the EPIC, the new system that has been introduced in our country, unique identity card that has been provided to each and every individual who have got the right to vote or who are eligible to vote. Now let's talk about the political parties, the candidates who fight on behalf of different political parties. How are they going to nominate themselves as the candidates who are participating in elections? So here in this topic, that is nomination of candidates, we are going to understand what are the criteria on which the candidates they can file their nomination form, okay, and also how can they do that, okay. So the first point that we have to keep in mind is that the minimum age to be nominated as a candidate is 25 years. What does that mean? A person can become an MP and a member of parliament or member of legislative assembly if the minimum age is 25 years. So this is the first point that you have to keep in mind. But when we are talking about Rajya Sabha, it increases to 30 years as well. So we have to keep these 2 points in mind here. But the minimum age, in general, when we are talking about the nomination, a candidate or a person who can nominate themselves is 25 years. Now, political parties nominate their candidates who get the party symbol and support. Now, students, this is an important point that we have to keep in mind. We are talking about different political parties who contest in elections, right? And nomination is a big part in election process here. Because until unless the candidates they have not nominated themselves, they have not filed the nomination form, how they are going to or how they are eligible to fight or contest in elections, correct? So political parties, they are nominating their candidates. Who are nominating their candidates? These political parties, okay. So here let's say from BJP or any other party you can take Congress, you can take NCP, you can take Samajwadi Party, any party you know, okay. So all these political parties, what are they doing? They are nominating their candidates, and these candidates, they are getting the party symbol and support from their respective political parties. Now, when we are talking about party symbols, do you know the names and the party symbols of different political parties, students? If not, let's have a look here. What do you see? You might be aware of some of these party symbols and the names of the political parties. Here we are talking about the national political parties of India. So, if we talk about the total number of national political parties of India, we have total 7 national political parties, okay. So the first one here is Bharatiya Janata Dal Party with Kamal or Lotus as the party symbol. Then we have Indian National Congress, right, with the hand as symbol. We have Bahujan Samaj Party, elephant as the symbol. National Congress Party, NCP again, okay. Communist Party of India, Sickle, and here you can see Communist Party of India, Marxist, and then Trinamool Congress. So these are the national parties of India. We have these political parties with their party symbol. So all the significant or the most important political parties, they get party symbol and also support from their respective political parties. Now here students, you might be thinking, right, you might have a question in your mind that what are the qualifications that a candidate needs? Do they have to give a particular exam? Do they have to appear in any exam, or do they have to go to like an interview, or just they have to file a nomination form and that's it? they can contest for elections. You might have different questions regarding the nomination of candidates, correct? So here when we are talking about the qualification of candidates, we have to keep certain points in mind. Now qualifications needed here is not a college degree. Some students might think that the candidates who are contesting in elections, they should have a certain college degree. They should have BSc degree, they should have a BA degree, they should have MA degree, MSc degree, they might be an engineer or a doctor or any sort of thing, any profession, right? You might be thinking like that, or you might have questions in your mind like that. But here students, you have to keep this point in mind, that qualifications that is needed is not a college degree, but an ability to understand people's problems, concerns and ability to represent them. And there might be a question in your mind that why educational qualification is not necessary here when we are talking about the nomination of candidates, when we are talking about the candidates who are going to participate in the election, right? You might think that if a person is illiterate or he has read till class 10th or he is just 12th pass, can he file for nomination? He is 25 years above, but he has done his graduation. He is not that well read. He is not that well versed in any particular subject. So how is he going to govern the country? How is he going to understand people's concern? How is he going to understand the laws? There might be such questions in your mind. But taking example here of a cricketer, you might understand certain points regarding this question. When we are talking about a cricketer, what is more important? His educational qualification or how well he plays cricket? How well he understands this game? He understands the game. Second point is more important here, students, correct? So, here likewise, when we are talking about the leaders, the political leaders, educational qualification is certainly a yes. They should have basic required educational qualification, but it is not the most important thing when we are talking about the nomination of candidates. So here, the most important qualification that a candidate should have, it should be an ability to understand people's problems, their concerns, their ability to represent them. This is the most important criteria. Now imagine a situation where what is happening, where if a certain criteria, educational degree has been given that all the candidates should be BA pass, should have BSc degree, should have MSc degree. So do you think that each and every individual above the age of 25 years, they can file the nomination here? Obviously not, because there are so many people who are not that well educated, who do not have the means or did not get equal opportunities when we are talking in terms of education. But yes, they do have the ability to understand people's problem. They do have the ability to question or to raise the issues in the society or to address them. They do have the ability to solve those issues, right? So they are perfect candidates and they can definitely contest for elections. These are some of the points that you have to keep in mind here. Okay. Now, independent candidates can also stand for election. Yes, if a person is not representing any party, a person independently also can stand for election and contest in election. Now, a person who stands for election has to fill the nomination form. Now, there is a certain nomination form, students, that a person has to fill if he is running for election. Look at this. This is just one part of the nomination form where the person has to give his name, father's name, his background, his assets, liabilities and everything, from where, which constituency he is fighting for. So these are certain points that you have to keep in mind. Okay. This is one part of the nomination form. Now, what are the legal declarations that the candidates they have to make? They have to see that serious criminal cases are pending against them. If there is any person who has serious criminal cases pending against them, they have to make a legal declaration about that. They also have to lay down the details of their assets, their liabilities, the properties that they have, the total amount they have. So these are some of the points: the total land and all those things, the assets and liabilities, basically the land, the property that they own, they have to mention those things. They also have to mention their educational qualification, though not most importantly, but yes, it is important. So these are the legal declarations that have to be made by the people who are filing for or contesting election. Apart from that, according to a recent judgment of the Supreme Court, a candidate who is convicted by a court of law for any offence for a duration of 2 years or above is not eligible to be an MLA or an MP. So here you have to keep in mind that a person who has been convicted by law, by the court of law, by any court, it can be Supreme Court, High Court, and for any offence, for any mistake that he has done for 2 years, for a duration of 2 years or above. So that person, that certain person cannot be an MLA, member of Legislative Assembly or member of Parliament. And all these legal declaration that has been made by the candidate, it has to be made public. Why it has to be made public? Because this provides an opportunity to the voters so that they can make their choice. They can have a fair choice between these candidates. They can know who are these candidates, okay? And also, based on this information provided by the candidates, they can choose their representatives very wisely, and they can also make a wise decision, okay? So these are some of the points that you have to keep in mind regarding the nomination of candidates. In next topic, we are going to learn about the election campaign. Thank you very much.